Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan Fudge, and this is my Wednesday where we talk to one of the big supporters in the community. And with me this afternoon or this evening, I've got what do I call you, Gaz? Viral sensation? Is that what you're going by now?
Reluctant, mate. Very reluctant.
So you've probably seen the memes. You've probably heard the songs. With me tonight, I've got Gaz Robinson, and we're going to be talking about his affinity with Sheffield Wednesday. Now, I'm not going to be disingenuous and make you do the voice. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make you do the impression. But
you want me to do it, don't you?
I don't.
You want me to do it?
I don't, because it rattles around my head 24/7. But I wanted to know how you felt about the memes. Like, you know what I mean? It's been insane, right?
It's a bit of a madden, right? Because we've been doing it. Well, I've been doing it for about a year. Right. As soon as it went quiet on Corp, just after kickoff, I'd wait. I'd look around and I'd go, "Come on, Wednesday!" Like, obviously everybody's seen it. And I'd been doing it for ages. Nobody had batted an eyelid. People around us used to laugh, get a bit of a titter, you know what I mean? So it was good. And then my brother filmed it. And he stuck it on Twitter, and it didn't get any reaction at first. There was a bloke, I don't even know who he is. He's from Manchester. Viva Ken Barlow, I think he's called on Twitter. And he used to retweet it all the time. And then it went from that to somebody else. I think they're like called Reese TW, I think he's called. He was the first one to kind of jump on it. And it started getting a bit of traction. And I'm just, every time it popped up, I'm looking at myself thinking, like, what am I doing here? What have I? Because you don't realise, when you're in moment, you don't realise. Like, to me, it wasn't even that funny.
Yeah.
And it's, do you know what? It's been really good. I got a little bit like, not anxiety, but I got a little bit flustered because I'm thinking, like with social media, there's good and bad.
Yeah, of course.
So I think I've only had one bad comment. I'll not say it out loud, but it was a belter. It was like just out of blue, somebody calling me this name, and I just thought, wow, is that? I can imagine what footballers go through. If I'm honest, it were
yeah.
You do, but other than that, mate, it's been funny. He's got me back. I've tried ripping my little brother for years. I can't ever come back from this. I am, honestly, muck's on me. I'm dead. There's no coming back. It's over.
But there's like I think some of the gags have been great. The songs that have come out. I mean, I've dabbled in it myself. I've absolutely found it hilarious. But I mean, when Matt Exton won, won the entire game with the excerpt from the Wednesday show. But one of the early ones that I saw was said, "What does Craig David make girls do on one day?" And then it cuts to you, and it just really absolutely, that one did me. That one.
Do you know what? I mean, Matt's brilliant. I've known Matt a bit. He's a proper sound kid. He's good as gold. And when he did it, he sent it me first, and he put, "What do you think to this?" And even I was laughing. It was just edited so well.
Yeah.
That I felt like a medieval knight studying crowd.
The best thing is, it's coming, right? You know what the gag is, you know what's coming, but that one builds really well, and then it's got shots of this woman and shots of the crowd. Then the boat, you're like, how does he get this? Oh, right, there it is.
I know.
There it is. Like, you know what I mean? And then
you never know how he's going to squeeze in.
You had no idea. And then before that, you had the Famewo chant. That was yours, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that again. This year's been a bit nuts. I mean, I use Twitter as a means of just having a laugh. Like, life's dead serious. Life can be shit at times, and I just use it as an outlet. Really, I'm not nasty on it. I just like to pillock about and have a laugh.
Yeah.
And for me, one we were steaming. I mean, like, we had a right wobble on it in group chat, and we'd all created it kind of together. And we all put as little bits in, and we put it on Twitter, and that obviously took off. And but I'm by no means like any kind of super fan. I'm just a pillock. Do you know? I'm just a normal man, an innocent man. That's all I am. Just a normal bloke.
Well, that's how these things start. When there's no ego and things like that with it. I mean, because like the best thing about the Come On Wednesday one is that, like, if like Sheffield United or Rotherham or they get hold of it and they go, "Oh, look at him, that's how he sounds. That's your fans. That's what it is." But there's not been a lot of that. A lot of them, some have, but there's been a lot of people that are like, they understand the joke, as it were.
Definitely. I know Kev, who's a Rotherham fan. He does a lot of fundraising for Rotherham and that, and he's been laughing his head off. I mean, everybody's took it in good spirits. I mean, that's what football Twitter should be about, really, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah.
Take mess out of each other, but it shouldn't get to a level where you kind of hurting people in a way. And I've not had any of that. It's been all good spirited. And I'm walking out of Cop, not last game. What game would it have been? Plymouth. And I'm walking out that back of Lippins Lane, and I just heard, "Come on, Wednesday," and it just tickled me. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, wow, I like that. I'll give it that one. I'm like, not interested. But it's funny. It's funny.
And then you've reached the pinnacle today. I swear I'll talk about something else, but you've reached the pinnacle today where Dennis Adeniran has jumped on it, right?
Yeah. Me and Denzel are tight.
Yeah, absolute bros now, mate. You know what I mean? No. But I love that it's filtered down to the players. Like I do a show like this, and I sit there and think, God, I've said some stuff there. I've said some things.
Yeah.
And you always wonder if the players get hold of it. And there's someone whose name is CM Dawson, who's left us a shitty review on Apple Podcasts, and Cameron Dawson's middle name is Miles. And you're like, have I been slagged off on the internet by Cameron Dawson?
Any publicity is good publicity, isn't it?
I'll take it. I've been down on that now for about 2 years. So anyway, let's get right to the start of it anyway, guys. So we've got, you know, you're a young kid and you've been taken to Hillsborough for the first time. I mean, how did it come about?
Well, all my family are Wednesdayites. My dad, I still managed to drag him to odd game now, but my dad, my uncle, especially my uncle, he were a big kind of input in me watching Wednesday. He took me all over. I was took on as like his surrogate son in a way. Yeah. So when he wanted to get out of the house and he needed a reason for missus, it was like, Gary wants to go to Ipswich. Can we? So that's it. We're getting his Peugeot and we'd bomb off. And the first ever game I remember, I don't know if Hursty scored 4, but it was all City. I think we won 5-1 and Hursty scored 4. And I were hooked. That it was just magic, you know. And I've always, since then, been obsessed with Wednesday. Like, I'll be at work singing little songs in my head and that. And I am like a kid. I'm like a kid with football. It's my only outlet, really. I'm not a big boozer on nights out. I like going to football, and that's my thing. Like,
so like, I try and ask this question to a lot of fans. I try to say, like, you know, who's your favourite player? And of a certain age, it's going to be one of three. It's going to be Hurst, Sheridan, or Waddle, right?
Yeah.
So as you were a kid, obviously probably David Hurst after that game stuck in your mind. But who were the big ones from when you were growing up? I mean, for me, it was people like Paolo Di Canio and Benito Carboni. For some reason, Ian Nolan stuck with me. I don't know why. But
Ian Nolan.
You know, I don't. Yeah, I tell you what it was. It was when we played Spurs and he had that double leg break. Chris Armstrong went absolutely through him. And I remember hearing the crack up the cop and thinking, bloody hell, is he all right? But for some reason, I used to think he was a tryer. You know what I mean?
He was. We always have a laugh saying that John Bez Weathericks are like our spiritual player. But I mean, Hursty like made me fall in love with football. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a striker. I wanted to be David Hurst. It's the stereotypical one. But we had a bloke from our village who used to play for Wednesday.
Right.
Mick Prendergast. And just knowing him and knowing that he'd slip shirt on and him telling us stories and stuff like that, he was as much of a kind of hero to us lot as the players that were playing on the pitch were. Yeah. It was some boy, Mick. He was a legend. And he played.
I bet he's told you some stories, though, hasn't he? I bet he's told you some absolute tales.
Some belters. He used to get some Jack and Danny, that boy. I'm telling you now. He will have played. He had curly mullet, and in the actual height of his like pomp for Wednesday. I mean, I'm not saying he was the most flair player, but he was decent. You know what I mean? And coming from a little mining village near Donny, we didn't have a lot to look up to.
Yeah.
But we had Prendy. Do you know what I mean? And he was
So like Prendy was the guy who got out the favelas in Brazil. Yeah, he was like that's how he was revered.
Yeah.
So all right then. So you know you've gone to this game at Hull and then like away games. Did you ever used to go on your own? Get on a train and I always remember. I always have a vivid memory of the Intercity Owl and the train going from Sheffield to Christ. We used to go to Watford and Villa, and I was not old enough to be doing this shit, but for some reason I did. But it was the smell for me. Yeah. That smell of fags, piss, and beer. You know, like it used to get in a tap room in a working men's club. Like, you know, do you remember them sort of away days?
Well, the smell of fags, piss, and beer sums up my mate Curry. To be honest, I mean that's not a million. That's his natural scent. Yeah. I mean,
we've all got one.
I went with my uncle and a group of us. So we used to get minibuses and that with his friends and their kids. I've got no but good memories, but as I got to an age of 16, 17, we started branching out. Do you know what I mean? Thinking we were geezers.
Like lads. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't Stone Island back then. It was probably more like Best Company and that, because we're a bit older. But yeah, you go through that phase. I mean, not as like that, but you dress to impress, don't you? And then I remember we went Grimsby and places like that, and they're just memories that stick with you as groups. And I still go with same lads now. We all sit in cop together, and that we like gonna watch Wednesday is 20% football, 80% piss tech.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like trying to explain it to somebody who don't understand. Like, I see these people once a fortnight. We'll go to Hillsborough. We'll kill 10,000 brain cells, and then we'll just catch up and see how you're getting on and all the rest of it, and complain depending on how that team's getting on.
That's what I found. I really did find lockdown difficult, because we were doing stuff like this. We were having Zoom quizzes and Teams quizzes and stuff like that, but actually getting out, like interaction with your mates, having a drink and moaning about what's going on, because at the time it wasn't great. I really missed it, and I didn't realise how much I missed it, and I value it more now, if you know what I mean. I savour it more now. I don't get as irate with what's going on pitch. And that sounds nuts, doesn't it? But
it is. It does.
I don't get as irate. I'm just glad to be there. I'm glad to be there with my son, and just I love it. I love it, honestly. I'm loving it a minute more because we're obviously peak Barcelona, but even when we won, it's good, mate. A minute, I love it.
I tell you what, I went to that away day down at Brentford. We got spanked 5-0 just before. I think it was the last game before lockdown. We got absolutely slapped all over the place, and we didn't even look like turning up. But I remember thinking, I was just stood around, and it's these faces you see. You know what I mean? Just these. There was a geezer when I had a season ticket back in the day. They used to sit about 2 rows behind us, and he was a pocky face geezer, and he's one of the Wednesday community, and I think his name's Terry or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And he's got this gruff old bloody voice, and he'd be absolutely shit faced every week. and I used to look at him about 17-year-old and go, "Oh, I hope I'm like that when I grow up."
Yeah, I hope I still like that. But yeah, I know. And I'm getting like that now. Like my son, it used to be like being around me and my mates were like the pinnacle with all Ruffy's hair and And now he's like moving further and further down the road, just to get away with his mates. You know what I mean? But
so all right. So tell me about memorable games then. Obviously, it's your first one, and then there's some. I mean, for some reason that 5-2 against Bolton back in the late 90s, with Nigel Clough played, for some reason sticks with me. Stuff like that. Have you got any games that stick in your mind?
Oh, games that stick in my mind. Good question. I mean, the European ones.
Yeah,
they're a bit of a cliche one, but just seeing foreign fans at Hillsborough and that as a kid, because I used to love watching like Gazzetta Italia on Channel 4 and stuff like that. And my dad had a dodgy skybox, so we used to get like Tutti Frutti on German channels. But every now and again, you get a German game, and and I used to just love like European football. So seeing fans come over, I mean, obviously not Spora Luxembourg, but when we played Kaiserslautern and they came and there were flares and flags, and I just remember as a kid being in awe of it all, thinking, "Wow, this is nuts." It's stuff my kid will probably never see. Like we think we've had it hard, but we've seen some things, haven't we?
Well, this is it. On the show. We have a couple of kids. I said kids. They're like 22 to 24, and they get in and like we talk about Hurst, Waddle, and Nilsson, and you know what I mean. All these players.
Yeah.
And like we'll be like, "Who did you have on back of your shirt?" And we're like, "Lee Peacock or Gillian and Sumbu and Dungu." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's us complaining.
I think I had Dippy Edie at one bit. And I mean, he was, God bless him, like that overhead kick were amazing, but apart from that, he was dog meat, wasn't he? But, you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot going on. You're not having him as a guest, are you? I'm not ruining him.
No. We ain't got him on. We don't speak enough Italian to get him on. Like, you know what I mean? We stick to the normal ones, like your Phil Kings.
Phil King.
So we had Dipiedi, didn't we? And then before that was Francesco Sonetti. And I don't know if you remember, we thought he was like the new Paolo Di Canio because he was Italian, essentially. That was it. And there was a bit where we wanted to bring him. I think we were playing Sunderland and we're going, Francesco Sonetti. And he came on and scored. And I think he equalised it up in the last 10 minutes. And I remember walking out going, tell you what, it's concerning that the crowd are picking the team, isn't it? Like, But there's something about Hillsborough, right? So I guess we're going. There's something about Hillsborough. I mean, did you go to the 3-0 Arsenal game?
Yes.
First time we did all the torch nonsense on the phones. As embarrassing it is, though, but that game was
it's special.
That
it's
really
moments, isn't it?
That was something that took us back, right? To when we used to go when it was Premier League, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's been a few. I tell you what stuck in my mind actually when we played Newcastle, just purely for the amount of ale we'd all consumed, and when we scored, like where I sit is predominantly, I would say, like I wouldn't quite call it the stairway to heaven.
Yeah,
but they're old. You know what I mean? So there's a few rounders who probably like to be lucky to get an Easter egg, and we scored, and there were just scenes like Mr. Fox at side of me. I could still call him Mr. Fox, grabbing onto me, and I remember that, just thinking like, this is what it's about. You know, this is what I come to football for, just to lose my mind for 90 minutes
and
enjoy
strangers. It.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the were strangers, and that's the other thing about football. Strangers become friends.
Yeah.
You sit next to somebody for years and years and years, and you don't know his inner workings, you don't know his family and stuff like that. But for 90 minutes, you talk to each other like you've known each other. Well, you have known each other for years.
Football's that great leveler, isn't it? You know, like if you ever played Sunday League or Saturday League, and some geezer works on a conveyor belt, one geezer's a doctor. It don't matter. It's just football, innit? And I think that's what I kind of like about it.
Yeah,
and like I said to you, trying to explain the community to people and stuff like. It's the same with Twitter, right? You know, I've been on Twitter now for a number of years, mainly to peddle this bollocks. But the but the people I've met on there. And the days out I've had, because you know I'm in exile now. I don't live in Yorkshire anymore. So if I want to go to Hillsborough, and if I want to go to an away game, there's now going to be people there that I know, in a way, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk about League One, and you go to these tiny away grounds, tiny compared to ours, right? You know, these tiny away grounds, and it's the same people. You kind of like, all right, pal, you all right?
Yeah. You got your. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not privileged enough. Like I think my TPPs are like 6'10". Right. So my ass is like a rabbit's nose trying to get a Barnsley ticket tomorrow. But I don't get to that many. But I think I've been to maybe four or five this season. And you see the same faces. Like we have little nicknames for people who look like people from our village. So there's a little Raz O'Rourke, and he's there. Raz is there, and it's just this kid who looks like him. But yeah, you get Sheffield Wednesday to a lot of people is more than. It winds me up when people say like, "Oh, it's just a game." The 90 minutes might be just a game, but the whole like spectrum of being a Wednesday fan, it's a life. It's a life for a lot of people.
So you were going with your family and stuff like that. Yeah. So you know, when did it kick in? I mean, you know, when you had kids, did you go? You know, this kid's fucked it now. You know what I mean?
He had no choice, mate. Honestly, he had absolutely none of them have. I've got another little lad. He's only 2. Like, our last got a taste for it again, and we've had a little lad. But yeah, Rudy, my biggest son. I started taking him from being about 3, 4. Wow. And at that point, I was taking him for me. I realised that now. I was taking him for me, not for him, because he didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
But now, seeing how much he's into it, like some games, it'll be midweek, I'll finish work and I'll be like, I'm not really asked about this tonight. He's like, oh, come on. He loves it more than me, and that means a lot. I've shared a lot of memories with him through it. And hopefully he'll remember those memories like I remember them with my dad and my uncle.
Absolutely, because there's that bit where you're kind of holding your pop, you're holding your panda pop, and all the lads are stood there getting pissed up, and you're kind of like your chest puffed out, and for a minute you're not the lad, you're not the kid, you're one of the boys. Like it's something you can't explain, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
So like, did you ever? I'm trying to dial down on away games and any trouble you got up to and any misdemeanors. Have you got caught in a pub by any Millwall fans or anything like that, or is it not that type of experience for you?
No, well, yeah, we've had a few scrapes. Yeah, we like Burnley. Well, obviously there's been a sad event with Burnley at the minute, so I mean, not in connection with that, but I mean, Burnley were particularly airy. I've got a mate called Jade who liked to turn up in seriously like unhinged. If he sees this, he won't mind me saying he is not in a like, he wouldn't start a fight, but we went to Burnley and everybody's got the best clothes on, and he had full desert camo gear on, army. Never been in army, like he worked on gas board. And I'm like, I went, what you got on? He went, camo. I went, why? He goes, because I'm going to war. And I was like, fucking hell, this is going to be a good one today. I'll tell you what, game, we won 7-2. We've been rubbish all season.
With that one, yeah. Come out of nowhere, didn't it?
7-2. We were at this little pub in Burnley, and the woman sweeping up and cleaning it. We all right to nip in for a pint, love. She went, oh, we're not open yet. I said, just one. We're gasping. We've been walking around for ages. She went, oh, go on. So 5 of us walked in, and then all of a sudden it was like, come on. And then everybody else, and there was a piano at lot. I remember us playing piano. It was brilliant. Again, memories. Just yeah. I mean, not so much
piano.
Yeah, it was mad. Like one lad could kind of play, I think, EastEnders theme tune on piano or something. So it was like, and we were all hands in air, loving it. But yeah, wow. just luckily I've got a great good set of mates.
Yeah.
All like pretty much from our village and from Maltby, another village just up road, and we're all sound, like who wants to fight at our age? Nobody.
I know, innit? I mean, you look at them and they're all like, come on then, we're going to meet in a car park. And you're like, aren't you going home tomorrow? You know
no,
what I mean?
Mate, like, honestly, I can't think of a worst, like, I mean, I'm ugly enough as it is, but can you imagine, I mean, that's a rate knows that. But if that gets another hit on it, there's going to be hell on.
I'm not one for dishing out feedback on face frontal breathing apparatus. Like so right. So tell me what your match day routine is. Like you wake up, you have a bacon sandwich, you treat yourself. I've been watching our meetings, but it's fry up there. What's your match day routine like on a Saturday?
Every gate, right? So I normally drive,
right?
Because I've got a 7-seater pumpkin eater, so I pick kids up. So I take my 2 nephews. I've got our young un, pick my mates up. We get a full car. And we call it chap. We go to now. This is I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Beers? Is it Beres? Is it Beres?
I think we all pronounce it Beres, don't we? But I think it's Beres. I don't know. I don't know
I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'll tell you now, right? They're putting crack in that crackling, because that's elite level sandwich material. That I'm telling you, that is unbelievable gear. So we call up there at chap,
right?
And then we park at Wadsley Bridge. We'll have a pint at station walking down. Kids go in Sainsbury's, get the dinner, get it ground, and we call it the fan zone on Cop, ironically.
Right.
Because it's like 2 porta cabins either end, like a car parked area. And we call it the fan zone because it's shite.
Is that the bit on the left-hand side between South Stand and Cop?
Yeah. It's shocking.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We get a pint, we have a natter, we all moan about lineup or whatever, and then I'm
normally moaning in that bit. I'm normally moaning about the queues in that bit.
It's nuts. It's like Mexican standoff. You've got 2 porta cabins. You don't know where to go.
Back it up. And then that last game of the season against Pompey that we won 4-1. Yeah. I was in that queue, and me and Ash had buggered off, and I'd had a skinful. I couldn't see it day out, and me and Ash had gone there, and we just stood there all day. And what is it about them pint glasses? The first time you ever get one, you look at that magnetized thing.
Oh, you want to touch
it? The first thing you want to do is just stick your finger straight in it. And it never goes back, and you end up just pissing your ale all over.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous, isn't it? First time I did it, I was like, what's that do? And you stick your finger in it, all your ale comes out.
But my thing is what's the point in having bottom-filled pints if you're only going to fill them when somebody asks for them? Just pour the fucking pints. Just
keep up ready.
Just keep them going. I remember at Derby County, they used to have caps on them, like at McDonald's and plastic caps. They used to just have them just lined up and just pass your pints. Oh, it's wonderful. I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, fair play to club though, because I went in that one for the first time on Saturday. We normally swerve it, but the one with bloke on ukulele on top of
yeah.
Fair play to club. I mean, they're limited in what not what they can do, but what they will do, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And money's tight and all that. It's all right, they're making an effort, and it was buzzing on Saturday. It honestly, it was, and I think that's more because where we are, but it was quality, yeah. Everything's all right when you're doing well.
Yeah.
When you're not doing well, where's hot water in toilets? You know what people are like, and really,
like half of them have washed their hands after a piss. You know what I mean?
Piss. Who washes their hands? I don't even get out of bath for one, so I'm not going to wash my hands after one. Honestly, sometimes I shake my head. I think you're mad, you're lot. Honestly. Sorry. Anyway, I digress.
No, you're right. You're right. I could go on about the catering and the toilet facilities all day, but only when we're losing. Like, you know what I mean?
Tell you what does tickle me though. We've got downstairs in Cop, they've got something called the Chicken Shack. Guess what it doesn't serve?
Fried chicken.
No chicken, nothing.
There's no chicken.
There's no chicken in the Chicken Shack. And the one upstairs in Cop's called the Orient Express. They only sell Rolos and pints. I'm like, it baffles me. I mean, it's got me talking about it, but I look at sign and I think, what we doing here? Where's my noodles? Where's my Kung Pao chicken? Anyway. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what it is. You know, calling it the Chicken Shack. You know what kids are like nowadays. That's where they go and hang out nowadays. Like, so they've gone, we'll call it Chicken Shack. We'll get all trendy kids in.
Yeah. Yeah.
One for youths, innit? One for the man.
And say, I'll have some chickens. No, you won't. You'll have a pie. That's all we've got. A lukewarm pie.
So this season then, not been too shabby, has it? I mean, when did were you like everybody else on Darren Moore about it turning round and all the rest of it?
Yeah, I'll hold my hands up. Beginning at I sometimes, because I work nights and I have a quiet period around 6, I'll sometimes ring Radio Sheffield like a lunatic and have a rant. But I didn't think he was the man for the job.
Nope.
I didn't, mate. Honestly, I thought some of his decisions were a bit bizarre. Some of his subs, didn't seem to be clicking. But I wrong where I. I mean, I'll hold my hands up, and I'm so chuffed to be wrong because he's giving me joy.
Yeah, but there's an element though when he first came in that that first 6 months after relegation, the first 6 months of League One, or the first half of the season, he didn't know what his formation were. He didn't know, what his first 11 was, and for me, it just took him too long to settle. And then this time last year, in terms of calendar year, we've had an absolute barnstormer because we've settled on that 5-3-2. And but I've got to give him his dues. His recruitment's been absolutely bloody outstanding.
Unreal. And the club have started releasing more content, and when you see him as a man, and as a gaffer, and when I say gaffer, I mean not just to the players, to the staff around him, to the people on the turnstiles. He interacts with everybody. He's just a double rate bloke, isn't he? But there's no other way of saying it. Like I sometimes feel horrible for the way I was thinking. Like, get rid of him because he don't know what he's doing. He knows a lot more than I know. He's proven that. He's just like, I was totally and utterly wrong. And I'm chuffed I'm wrong because who could we have ended up with?
Well, that's it, innit? You know what I mean? People always ask that question. They go, well, who are you going to get then? Well, it's not my fucking job. Like,
it's that merry-go-round of shit, innit? Like, you've got Tony Mowbray, Poulis.
Gary Monk's on it.
Gary Monk. It's like a merry-go-round of shite.
Yeah.
You don't want that. And Darren Moore has proven a lot. He's made some brave decisions this year. I mean, ditching Stockdale for Dawson. I mean, I agree with it. Dawson's been mint since he's coming. Stockdale didn't do a lot wrong, but that's a brave decision. It's a big shout. And
then, like, finding that midfield three of Byers, Volks, and Bannon. That's it. You know what I mean? That seems to be the one that's settled. And we had, and like you said, we had a merry-go-round of who was our starting 11? Who was it? And then you've got Smudger and Windass up front who doing bits, and then to drop Gregory and all, and putting him back in when he does. I think he's made some bold decisions, and it's paid off. And fair play to him. And I'm like you, I've got some egg on my face, and I've got some apologies.
Absolutely.
Problem is, I do it on something like this, and it's on the internet now. You know what I mean? So someone's going to dig out a clip. I'm fucked it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Byers, Bannon, and Volks is Don't Tell Our Last, which is my new favourite triangle. There's something special, aren't they? I mean, like, watching them on Saturday, Bannon gets a lot of stick, but he only gets stick, I think, because he's that good. That when he has an off day, it's that evident because he orchestrates everything. It's unbelievable. It'll be a sad day when he's too old to carry on. He's like a throwback footballer because he actually looks like one as well. Bless him. He looks like a Nobby Styles or something. I love him. I love him to bits. I mean, I'm engaged with the team at the minute. I'm really into it. Like I'm behind. I mean, Liam Palmer is what's happened. He's just come. He's like prime Cafu. It's weird.
Well, he spent the summer doing these marathons and doing these things, these fitness things. And who'd have thought being mega fit makes you a better football player? Didn't see it. Who'd have thought it?
Who would have thunked it?
So that's what's happening. So, you know, it looks like we're going up. I'm going to touch wood on that one. But if we did, I mean, I do think we'll fare next season. Do you think it'd be because coming down, you're looking like teams like Bournemouth and Southampton and teams like that, you know, used to play in Premier Leagues over the last 10 years. So, you know, what would you be happy with? Mid-table, beating relegation? You know, let's say we're playing Footy Manager and you have to set your board expectations at start of season for next year. What do you reckon?
I'd love Sheffield United to implode this year.
Right.
And I think they will. There's my tip. Gary's tip of the day. Sheffield United are going to implode and Borough are going to get up.
You've heard it here first.
For mid-table and beating them twice.
Just for that one season, and then we could push on from there. Yeah, absolutely. Mid-table mediocrity, but winning derbies.
I think it's easy to say. I mean, you can see how we played against Newcastle.
Yeah.
So the ability's there.
Yeah.
But it's an hard league to perform like that for 46 games or whatever it is. So you've got to hope for mid-table and stabilise and keep building. And that's the very few teams do the progression through the leagues. I know who did it not so long
Saints
back.
did it.
Saints Southampton did it, yeah.
Yeah. I think Sheffield United, you could probably argue that they did it actually.
They did it pretty much, yeah. But not many do, so them bastards.
Rotten bastards. All right. Listen, let's wrap it up there. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot thanks a lot for making thousands laugh on the internet, mate. You've been an absolute star with it. And I agree with the trepidation. It just needs that one knobhead and all of a sudden everything's piled on.
Listen, everybody's been sounding. For everybody who's like sent me a little message saying like, oh, I'd be lying if I said I was a bit nervous when it was all first happening, but people have made it a lot better. So I appreciate it. I do.
That's amazing. All right. Thanks a lot. Gaz Robinson.
Be seeing you.